Juliet, Kinye, to our black belts in training. Alright, this is going to be your training video for the primary skills we want you to focus on for the eventual test. Mr. Manning will cover in detail when that is going to be happening and how it will be performed. For right now, we wanted to go over some of the key instances of skills that we wanted to see improvement in before the test occurs. I know this is difficult via video format, but we're doing our best. So, we're going to start off with kicks and then move on to self-defense. Alright, we're going to be going through not the entire list of kicks, but at least 20 that we know you guys need to focus on. So, keep practicing any kicks you have in your curriculum that are not shown in this video, but also pay special attention to the ones we demonstrate today. Very good. Yet, continue. Make us proud, guys.
Alright. First of the kicks. Twisting kick. This one is as hard to perform as it is to talk through, so just bear with me. First, find your stance, done with the back leg. This is used against a close. So your right leg back, your opponent is right leg back. Your goal is to hit them in the stomach. Knee comes up. Knee twists to the outside and then twists back towards the inside. The goal is to kick out on the twist out. So knee up, turn, kick on the out. The only way you get any kind of power in with this kick is with letting your hips go forward and then twist them back into the kicking motion. It is perhaps the most awkward kick that we show. So, let's go and demonstrate.
Alright.
Once again, close, his left leg, my left leg, our back. Up, and out. Yell, on the kick. Alright, that is twisting kick. Next, one of our favorites, Nanobon for all of our black belts, jumping. Yep. Keep it up and swing high. Okay, that's how you get airtime. Won't throw the kick in midair because, for obvious reasons, it's not comfortable to throw the kick with no resistance. Yep, spin, switch legs, kick. We've done it 1,000 times. The spin just takes a lot of practice to get used to. So, let's spin. Quite a bit of distance for this one. Let's go back. Right about there should be. Once again, hold the bag, angle in for the kicking leg. My right leg, front leg is doing the kick, so he's angling it towards my right side. Yep. Kick. And the way it's jumping is if you land the kick before your supporting foot touches the ground. If you do that, then it's a jumping kick. If your supporting foot touches the ground before your kick lands, then it's not a jumping kick. You've just added a spin. So keep that in mind. Aim for a jump. Alright, that is Nanobon. Counter roundhouse. This one can feel weird on your knees and hips if your technique isn't tight enough. So, what do I mean by tight? If you bring your knee up here as you try to switch, it doesn't feel good. Alright, especially when you start trying to throw that leg out. If you bring your knee straight up as you switch and turn, see how my knee came straight up and then my foot just went out? Instead of doing this while trying to get the switch in, this gives you a lot more control and it's faster. So, make sure I've got enough distance. One thing to keep in mind, at the very least, your front foot should end up where your back foot is. That is regular counter. If you're adding in a Hujin step, you should end up even farther back than just your back foot. So if I'm here, I should end up way farther back, okay? That is counter. Best way to practice this, close to the pad, not far, because then you have no incentive to move your feet. Here, I need to move my feet if I'm going to hit this correctly. Guards up. Whoop, went over. Again. There we go, there. Another important thing, it's important to have your knees bent. Otherwise, you need to do this before you can move correctly. With your knees already bent, you already have the spring to jump backwards. Alright. Outside inside crescent and inside outside crescent, or forward and reverse. This one, guards up. It is not a straight leg. There should never be a straight leg on your crescent kick. Knee comes up bent, just like a scissor kick or a snap kick, with your knee moving in an arc. And once again, you want to snap the leg at the height of the kick. Foot pointed forward, toes pulled back. The goal is to hit with the outside edge or even the shin if you're close enough. This can be done very close to an opponent.
How close do you want it?
That's about right. Both in fighting stance, we could even be a bit further apart. Yeah, so this is a decently good distance to throw a crescent. I've also seen it done to knock hands out of the way and then close in with your own attack with your hands. So outside inside crescent. There we go. And then inside outside. It comes up. Primary thing. Inside outside. Make sure your hips are going the right way and your hips end up square. That's not to say there is no movement with your hips. Like they don't just sit here like this the whole time, because then it has greatly reduced snap. Your hips need to move, and then they snap back to being square for this kick, okay? Here, and here.
All right, the next kick is going to be axe kick. Axe kicks are, let me back up. I have taught you a version of axe kick that has been refined over the years. So what I've instructed you is not what we want you to demonstrate, due to one simple fact, and I'll share that to you now. From a fighting stance, what I have taught traditionally has been knee up, hips reserved. As you extend the hips forward, you extend it straight and come down, looking something like this. Okay? Notice how my leg was straight all the way until I touched the ground. And they don't want that anymore. Okay? What they want is to have it snap at instance of contact and then come back to a knee. Okay? I'll demonstrate that now. That. So it goes straight, hits, comes to this, and then you set it down. The reason for that is safety. Should you be striking something, either it be a board, a clapper, or an opponent, should provide less resistance than you're anticipating. For example, an opponent dodging, a board breaking too easily, or the clapper, you just put too much power into it and you blast right through it. You have the potentiality of just smashing your foot on the floor doing the straight-legged technique I've taught for so many years. And the way I just demonstrated now with the snap makes it a lot safer. So, from the front, guards up, using your back leg, you're going to lift the knee up, push the hip forward, and then you go to straight and down, hooking as you come through it, okay? Looks like this. Notice how I end up at a bent knee, foot curled, and either setting it in front or setting it behind, whichever is most comfortable for you, okay? Mr. Quaid, could you please hold through the demonstration? Yes, sir. So two badges a little bit. So from here, knee up, push the hip forward, and then maintain balance one more time. Up, forward, extend and hit, hook, and then down. Now fast. Oop. Right there. That's what it looks like. One more time. Understood? So no longer is it the, hold again, up and then straight down with a straight leg, okay? It doesn't seem to generate any more power or any less power with the new technique. However, this way, the one I just demonstrated, does give you the potentiality for injury, so let's avoid it, okay? Now for axe skipping axe, okay? Fighting stance again. Again, with the skipping technique, try to make sure as you're in the air is when you deliver the blow, okay? So this is what it looks like. 1, 2, okay? Make sure when you're coming down, you're still in the air, okay? If you don't do it while you're in the air, let's say you do axe kick, skip, then axe kick, as you saw. As you do it, if you hit the ground, you've lost all the potential power benefits of you being in the air when you hit, okay? That potential power being you are falling to the ground, and at the instance before you land, you hit the target. So you have your entire body weight instead of just the weight and velocity of your leg hitting the target, okay? So let's demonstrate that now. So from here, it is axe kick, Give me next. Try that again. I think I touched my toes first. So, axe kick. Alright. So, that is what we want for those two. Now the next one is free sparring hook. Okay, and the reason why we're breaking it up this way is just because Mr. Quaid has the clapper. So, for what we're doing for free sparring hook kick is, you're going to lift your front leg out like so, and then hook it. It's very simple, it should be really fast, just whoop, upside the head, okay? Can be done either to, if they're facing this way, around the back of the shoulder, which may be the fastest way if they have their hand in the way. If they have a traditional guard position, this may prevent them from seeing the foot coming up and around. All right, you do it from the inside, they're likely to see it. So that's how you would use it, okay? Now, I'd also recommend, if you're going to use this in competition, you'd add a little bit of a slide. So as the foot comes up, you lean in and push yourself with the back leg in, okay? So standing still, boom, okay? It doesn't have much power, however, it has a lot more power than just like a jab, or in many cases, a lot of people's cross or reverse punch, because there's a lot more muscle and weight in the leg. However, it does give you the disadvantage of being on one leg, so use it sparingly and when you need it. However, for the technique, make sure you maintain your balance, your hips are forward, you don't rotate them this way like you would for a crescent kick, and point your belt knot at the target. Your belt knot should be, for all hook kicks, pointed 90 degrees to the target. So from here, boom, okay? That is free sparring hook. Moving on to back kick. Again, take your fighting stance. There are two ways we teach back kick. The first way is the traditional way, which is what looks like this. This foot stays still, you turn, putting all your weight on that leg, chamber like you would for a side kick, and deliver essentially a turning side kick. With the standing heel pointed towards the target, okay? The second way is sparring. This way, this knee doesn't come up to this big chamber, okay? This foot shifts out of the way about 4 inches, turn, leaving a straight line for the kicking leg, the back leg, as you spot, to come to chamber near your chest, don't fall over, there we go, and then straight back. Notice how my toes are pointed down instead of sideways, okay? That is the key difference, aside from the shift of the foot and the pointing of the heel, okay? So, that is the two versions of back kick. For demonstration, you want to do the traditional one. For combat, you want to do the defensive or free sparring version where you move the foot out of the way, because it's a little bit faster, it's more complex because you have to get more timing in, but it's a little bit faster and they're both equally as powerful, okay? So, first version, okay? Just a regular, just with my left leg, so you guys can see. You just put all the weight into this foot, chamber, hut, and kick the bag, okay? A little faster, hut. That is the first one, the traditional. Now we have the free sparring. Watch this foot. Out of the way, turn, straight back. Okay, let's try that again, a little faster. And those are the two versions of back kick. The one we want for demonstration in front of panel judges is that first one, where you do the big wind up and turn, just like a turning side kick. Okay? Very good.
Alright, this will be your next set of kicks. Starting with side kick. The one that we all know and love and maybe mildly despise? Who knows? Yep. As you do so, bottom foot turns for the first section. Second turn, here, now my heel is pointing at the target. Shoulder, hip, heel in line towards where I am striking. Out and back. You want your foot traveling in as straight a line as possible. This one requires over rotation. You do not want this to happen. This ends up being shovel knee, and it's not something that you want to happen on your regular back kicks. On fast back kick, it's a bit better because you have all the momentum going into it, so you're not quite shoving with it. It's not a strike, or it's not a shove like a push kick. It is a strike. And side kick, same thing. Still, you're more likely to end up to have a bit more push to a regular side kick than with a back kick. A back kick just has so much more momentum to it. A side kick if someone jams up on you, you want it to be in a stable position to shove back, as opposed to here, which is not stable and does not feel good on your joints. Here, out, and back. Alright. Verification for this. If you're going to practice side kick, split stretch is your friend, and holding your kick in chamber like this to strengthen up this section of your body right here are paramount to any of your side kicks. Because if you don't have the flexibility and you don't have the strength, then your kick will not get higher. If you don't have 1 plus 1, then you're not going to equal 2, okay? You need both in order to get to 2. Got it? So practice your hip strength with chambers. Demonstration. Right, sense? Yep. Turn, out, and back. That's the third one, yeah. You know this one. Next, sliding side kick. There are many ways to throw this kick in this sort of forward momentum. One of which, let's say, more distance covering is from here, step behind. We've shown it to you before. It's in basic form 1. Step behind, side kick kick. That covers a tremendous amount of distance, has quite a bit of momentum. Sliding side kick, you want your knee going up to give you momentum going forward. So from here, fighting stance, knee up, and then kick as you're going forward, okay? So here, pop. Let me demonstrate it to the side, here. Left leg again.
On the bag or just
Yeah, back. About there should be good. Knee up, pop. A little too far away. That's outside of danger zone. I will not be able to hit him with my back foot. Knee up. This one is most commonly used for sparring because if I step in like this, if I step in or I try to skip like that, the second your back foot moves, they're moving. The second anything happens, they're going to react to it. So make it so that they have as little chance to react to it as possible. You should get a bit of motion going in with that foot. I still need more practice on this one. I'm still really used to having my foot on the ground for that. Both are useful. However, the step behind is a bit better when you've got them cornered and they have no option other than to go out of the ring to one side, go into a judge on the other, and you're trying to drive them out of the ring. So that's what the stepping back is for, and if you have room. You've seen the rings in tournaments, you might not have space to throw that one. All right.
Just one more point of information. The sliding side kick, as demonstrated by Mr. Dwight here, is the kind of side kick we want to see on basic,
Yes.
sorry, not basic, self-defense, one steps, number 5.
Yes.
Okay? That is the kick we want to see. We don't want to see a stepping, we don't want to see like number 20, the jumping. It is step out, and that is the kick we want to see. That is a sliding side kick.
One chamber back.
Alright? Except done in a straightforward motion.
Yes. Now, double side kick. Stretching and getting your hip strength up is the only way you're going to be able to do a double side kick to middle and high section. And still have it look good without trying to brush your head on the ground by trying to get your foot up on the second kick. We've all done it. No shame in it. But you need to work out that. You need to iron out that little kick. So, yep. One, back to chamber. Do not let your knee drop. Do not let it go here. Do not let it go here. Hips stay facing 180 degrees or 90 degrees away from your target. Middle, and then high. You will more than likely need to lean down on the high side kick. The important thing to note is you are not doing 1 and then 2. We don't want your head going down and touching against your knee, okay? You've got to try and stay as upright as you physically can. This requires a lot of practice. Once again, strengthen up those hips. and do your split stretch. Those are two of the things that will help you get your side kick higher and hold it for longer so you have more control. Now, demonstration, double side kick on the big bag. Right here. You'll need to hold it a bit higher, and notice how Mr. Quaid has it angled forward a little bit. That way, my side kick is going up right against it, as opposed to if it were flat, my kick would have a bit of an angle to it, and it might slide. So that forward angle makes it better. Okay? Yep. In, and then high. Okay? This one is tricky to do. Trust me. 1, 2, 2. Let me do it with my right leg. One more time. Balance. Alright. Once again, something that everyone needs practice with. And their primary reason, choreo, one of the most complex black belt forms that you'll have to learn. And yes, you will have to learn it. You have no choice at this point. Okay, enough with the thirds. Stepping back kick. As the name entails, step forward and back kick. There's not much more I can add to that. Guards up, step forward, make it a convincing step. That would be one thing that I do add. It is to create a feint, it is to create a flinch in your opponent. Because if they flinch back, then you'd probably just end up chasing them and running them out of the ring, or hitting them with something else when another opening happens. If they just stand there like what I'm prone to do, I'll catch you with my forearms though. If they just stand here like this, back kick, straight to the stomach. Abs no matter how tight they are or how long they've practiced, a good side kick will get through.
Back kick, my side kick.
Back kick.
Okay.
Stepping spin. One. You guys get it. Step back a little bit, sir. All right. Guards up. Step, turn, spot, kick. This, once again, can be done in the two fashions of traditional, what we want to see on your test, and fast, what is better at sparring. There's okay?
Oh, and make sure, if I may
Yes, sir.
interject, always hit with your heel on all of these techniques. The heel is paramount, okay? The foot position should not have anything. It should not be flat foot. It should be as angled and aggressive towards the heel as possible, okay? If your toes are at all forward, especially on the sparring back kick variation, those are what's going to hit first, and it's going to absorb a fair amount of force into the target and not hit with just one solid mass, one pointy bit, okay? You want it to be as solid and hard as you can, and that means the toes need to be removed from the equation. Go as tight as to your shins as possible with side kick and back kick.
All right. Thank you, sir. Now, finally, free sparring hook roundhouse combination. What's his name? Something Van Damme.
Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. You can blame him for making this one popular. Now, this one, I do not see it having any practical value. That is as kindly a way as I can phrase it as possible. It does, however, look rather impressive when you pull it off. So, free sparring hook, roundhouse combination. Now, free sparring is oftentimes done front leg, as free sparring implies. So, free sparring hook, free sparring, like free sparring roundhouse is done front leg. One way to make it viable is, once again, slip in, and you are going 1, 2. All right. This one is just, once again, hold that leg out. I think the best way to practice this one for hip strength would be holding a roundhouse chamber, shoulder, hip, knee, in as straight a line as you can make it, with your foot pulled all the way back to strengthen up this leg. And then you practice 1, 2. Once again, here, slip it in a little bit, up. That one just requires a lot of practice and a lot of strength in your hips. Be sure to do not skip your conditioning on any of these. All right.
Okay, now we're going to be moving on into jumping kicks. Let me preface this. Please make sure you do all these in areas where you are able to fall down safely, because you get dizzy quick, okay? And I remember training these kicks, you have the compunction just to keep going and going and going. If you need to take time, especially if you get easily dizzy like myself, take the time, okay? Do 3, 4, and then just relax, okay? Until the dizziness goes away, then do 3 or 4 more, okay? Repeat this pattern until they come to you fluidly and easily, okay? But first, we want to start out with how you train to get the jump and land. So fighting stance, you're going to jump, turn 360 degrees, and then land in a fighting stance, all right? We don't want any of this for the legs stay straight, okay? We're not doing a jumping pirouette or whatever the heck that might be. We're jumping, bringing your knees up, guard, and try to maintain a guard position with your hands so that your body is balanced, and then landing in a fighting stance, like so. Okay? And make sure you start from knees bent. You don't go from knees straight, knees bent, jump, okay? This is 0, not this, okay? From 0, boom, okay? Other side, same thing. From here, jump, land, okay? Jump, and land. You'll notice that you'll find yourself favoring one side or the other, and you'll land a little bit off balance if you haven't been doing this regularly, okay? Do your best to land and make sure that that shift in balance you feel as you're doing the spin as it's minimal as possible, okay? If not completely gone. Very good. All right, the first one is going to be jumping back kick. It is fairly simple when it comes to the jumping techniques. It's one of the easier ones because instead of going, let's say the target is this way, instead of going 360 degrees before delivering the kick, okay, you only need to do a 180 and then kick out straight behind you. However, you must still spot your target. Mr. Quaid?
Yes, sir.
This kick is hard to do. Actually, let me rephrase that. This kick should not be done without something to hit, okay? Or at the very least, you can do the jumping part, but don't deliver the kick or attempt to deliver the kick in any way without something to stop the momentum or to impact, because you're very likely to hurt yourself. Doing this kick without anything to impact is not a smart idea. That's just bottom line. Don't do this unless you can hit something. And I would recommend something large like a body shield, a hanging bag or a swinging bag. I've attempted to do it when I have not had people able to hold bags for me. And if you have a traditional like boxing heavy bag that you're able to use, fantastic. However, you have to be careful because of how they are round. Okay, any kick that is not like a roundhouse, okay, you can easily do a jumping Narabon on one of these things, on a heavy bag, and not have to worry too much about how hard you hit the bag or if you're going to miss. But any thrusting kick, because of the round nature of the target on a standing heavy bag or a hanging heavy bag, if you're off center just by a little bit, you're going to glance off and hyperextend your knee, okay? I learned this one the hard way, thankfully no permanent damage, but have someone hold the body shield. That is the safest way to do it. If it is someone who is not used to holding for powerful kicks, some of you are quite large for teenagers, or I guess you're standard for teenagers now, but you're able to generate a fair amount of force, more than enough force to hurt someone through this kind of bag if they're not used to hitting it, so dial back the power, but we still want to see the kick done, okay? So, from here, guards up, you're just going to jump and deliver a back kick, like so. Okay? All right, to get a little higher. There you go.
There we go.
And that is your jumping back kick. Let's do one on this leg. All right, and again, you're trying to hit center. All right, can you do this one with the straight back? I've always had great difficulty with it. I've always thrown this one with a traditional just knee out, spin, and deliver a straight back kick. Okay? So that's the one I've always done. If that's the one you show me, I'll be perfectly fine with it. So from here, and you blast it, all right? So that is jumping back kick.
All right, 360 back kick. This one requires a lot of practice. After you get the feel for it, it honestly feels, in my opinion, a lot better to throw than just a regular jumping back kick because you have all that extra momentum. Now, one of the techniques that I want to show you is this right here. Instead of just bringing your knee straight up for a turn, you swing your leg up like so, and then pull it back towards you, like that. So your leg goes up, and then leg goes out slightly bent like so, and then pulls back towards you. That gives you a bit more up on this kick. And you don't have to. This one you want to turn, so having that one hip pulled around for you helps a lot more. Alright, after that, fighting stance, ready, breathe out, relax. If you're really tight, this kick will be hard to throw. Breathe in, exhale, relax. Breathe in one more time right before the kick. And then knee up, spin, kick. Again, let me see if I can get that a little bit higher. One more time. Good. For this one, because your lower body has so much more momentum, it is very important that you snap your head around as quickly as you can. Otherwise, your head will feel like it's lagging behind, and you will not be able to spot the target before you need to throw the kick. All right, that is 360 coming back in.
Okay, the next technique is hurricane. Much loved by everyone, but I need to make sure everyone's doing it the same way, okay? Just make sure I don't hit anything too back, please, with it. So there you go. Actually, no, I need to come this way because we travel. Okay, this kick is two outside-inside crescents or forward crescent kicks going forward, okay? The second one is a jumping crescent, okay? So, a hurricane looks like this. You attack the first target, 1, 2, and hit it again. Trying to do that weird angle thing I just did, so let me do that one
A
again.
little bit more.
So,
You may have been a little loud for
but fair enough. So right here, first crescent kick. Hit it, down, turn, knee comes up, crescent kick. Okay? That's what we want. Done fast, it looks like this. Okay? That is your hurricane kick.
Alright, jumping back spinning crescent. You will find you want to turn into a hook kick when you're doing the back spinning crescent, and you turn into a back spinning crescent when you want to do a hook kick. It's kind of weird.
It is weird. I don't know why, but it's always how it turns out.
No idea, it's just something. Anyway, the primary difference is hip position. Hook kick, you end up here. Hips are, what's the word I'm looking for?
90 degrees to the target.
90 degrees to the target. Turned away from the target. Back spinning crescent, they are facing forwards.
And
No
of course,
deflection whatsoever.
the impact of each is different. It
Yes.
is the back of the foot or bottom of the foot for the hook, or it is the side of the foot for the crescent. So,
Alright, without further ado.
okay. Notice what he does. Watch his legs. Notice how the kicking leg is chambered as he's rotating around. Okay, you don't want to jump with it straight. So that throws your balance way off and you end up just like spinning across the floor. I've done it, don't do it. Thankfully I was training at a dojo that had padded floors when I was really going for it. Okay?
And remember, as long as both feet are still in the air, it counts. Alright, so you might see my back leg is just pointing straight down towards the floor.
I didn't
That's
see that
okay.
on this one, so I think you're good.
Alright.
Very good.
All
That's
right.
your jump spinning crescent. Next kick is the 540 roundhouse. Now, the original version of this is simply a step, not a bond. That might have been out of frame, but it doesn't really matter because you're not doing the original version. You're doing the jumping version, which is just step, jumping, not a bond. So, let me scoot back a wee bit. From here, step forward, lift the back leg up, turn, 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 kick. Okay? And it looks like this, fast. From here. Woo. Try that again without running into Mamu. Ready? 1. Okay? Now, this one works best if that first step isn't some timid little thing I just did. I got a very short amount of distance to cover, so I'm doing my best. But if you can step and get them to flinch, just like you did for the other stepping kick, like stepping back kick.
Let's say we're
pull,
fighting and I do this,
bang.
and then you chase.
Okay? That's the idea of it. Okay? And in Taekwondo sparring, you get more points for a spinning kick, so that's why you would be incentivized to do it. Okay? So that's what it is. If you know how to do a jumping Notabon, you know how to do this kick. Very good.
Alright. Jumping, spinning, hook kick. If you thought backspin crescent was hard, this one I find harder. Just let's get that out of the way. Remember, this has been made slightly easier by the proper hook kick technique because now you are taking the tightness of your calves out of the equation for the kick, making it a bit faster. And remember, as long as both feet are off the ground, it counts. So, over to you, sir. Excuse me. Jumping, spinning, hook kick. The thing that I have a problem with this is I oftentimes end up jumping back. Just for whatever reason. When I go into the spin for this, I end up going backwards as opposed to staying still. So keep an eye out on that. This one took me a literal week of dedicated practice before this kick started to look good for me. Alright. So that in mind, try not to get discouraged and take your time.
Very good. Now, how you make this kick work, A, you do the jumping practice thing we did in the beginning. Okay? And then you throw a proper hook kick. Okay? There's no other way to do it. The technique is not different from the ground to jumping. The only difference is that the rotation happens in the air and you throw the kick appropriately. You need speed and velocity in order to make this. Same thing. You need the speed in order to make this kick work. If you try to do it slow, gravity's not going to be your friend, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So practice this one fast. You can do it without a lot of power, okay, but with enough speed in order to make the kick fly, okay?
As you saw, as I just threw the kick without a pad there, that little bit of resistance prevented my body from going through like this.
Okay.
So having a little bit of resistance is really important with this kick.
Okay. So again, it's the same technique. The only thing you change is how you take off, okay? And make sure you are in the air when you hit, all right? Very good. Students, those are all your jumping kicks. We're going to be moving on to self-defense. Juliette, Cunier, relax. Hopefully you haven't been doing these the entire way through. Take these in sections, bite-sized sections, and practice 3-4 times in a row. Give it a break unless you're really just perfectly okay with getting dizzy, okay? Or you're very resistant to getting dizzy. All right, students, you did good. You made us proud. Go get some water.